Hey Leo, how's it going? We're here with your reading, what you need to know for July. The first card that we have out is the Empress. Starting off with the Empress shows you in a space where, I'm also seeing the Death card too. All right, this is Venus and this is Scorpio. There can be a different way that you're working on showing up. Venus has to do with like your preferences, your taste, your skill set, the things that you find beautiful, the way that you express yourself, your values, those types of things. To have Death coming out, this can mean that there's an undertaking that's going on with these things for you in the month of July. This would be a type of change that you may be like getting rid of anything that doesn't fit your current aesthetic. Like this doesn't even have to be a physical thing. Like yes, it can be clothing and stuff like that, but it can also be like music that you're listening to, things that you're putting yourself around. It can have to do with your relationships. You may be questioning things in a proactive type of way where there's a moving in the direction of things that you feel like fit you now. So this can also be looking at things and being like, yeah, back in 2014 those things fit me, but now with where I am now, again, like people, places, things, really like anything at all, you can be like looking through those things and feeling that that's not really your style anymore, it's not your preference anymore, or you've outgrown those things. Having Death card here shows that this isn't evolving, this isn't just a change where it's like just changing direction sort of arbitrarily. This is a really deep transformational energy. This can have to do, you can be changing something with your appearance, you can change something with your hair, your style, just it can really be anything at all about your person and the way that you express yourself. Mediums that you're interested in, those types of things. And wanting to find things that fit you now where you are, but first there's going to be a recognition process of what you're connected with, what you want to be connected with, or like where you were versus like where you want to be or where you are now currently. Then there's going to be a purging process that happens, and then there is going to be like the restructuring or rebuilding of things. So it's sort of like looking at what doesn't fit anymore, what needs to go, what's ready to go, like what you've grown out of, getting rid of those things then, and then there's going to be a replacement of something. So that's basically the process that you're going to be going through. It may be beginning in the month of July because this is something that's probably going to take some time. This can also be like moving or something like that. It can be something that feels very big within your life, big relationship shift. Could be closing something out too. That can definitely be part of this as well. Getting something coming through about the throat chakra. Maybe a conversation that's going to be coming up. Scorpio and Libra here, and Venus, Taurus. Right. In the beginning of this process, I'm seeing you look very like willing, like in high spirits even, sort of like accepting this thing that's presenting itself to you, like this is gonna be the thing that I'll be working on, this is the thing in front of me, and then the Death card comes and it feels like it's still like willing participant in this process. But then when we get to the Knight of Pentacles, which is like having to do the actual thing, like do the actual work and like the practical side of things, it can be sort of the slow side of things, the boring side of things, the mundane side of things. When that starts happening, you can feel a bit like I really signed myself up for this. It can be like that type of feeling where you know that this is what you needed to do, and you also know that this is good for you and that you're growing. But it feels like as soon as your feet hit the ground or like your boots hit the dirt, like that type of thing, you can be like, I'm doing the thing, but I can't believe I signed myself up for this. That's what this is looking like. But then Justice coming out here feels like there's a greater understanding that this is for the sake of balance and harmony within your life and also within your relationships too. Like with all of the things that you interact with, be that human, be that anything else. Hierophant coming up means that things that are connected with belief systems and what you put your faith into, that can be something that you're checking out. There can be things like obligations and commitments that are coming up. There can also be habits that are coming up, like things that you may feel comfortable with, feel rigid about, but you can look at and be like, I don't think that's allowing me to grow in the way that I want to. This feels very Leo, very self-reflective, what's going on here. So there can be some challenges that come up when it comes to like the more rigid pieces of yourself, but you can also go into this knowing like this is the best thing for me right now. And also too, I know that this is going to open doors for me. So I'm seeing that also be part of it as well. Some of you, there's going to be a plan that's finalized during the month of July. Wow, you have the Emperor below you. All right. It feels like there was a known change that was going to be happening, but I'm also seeing the Tower here too, which can be some parts of this happening in a way that you were not anticipating. It also feels like needing to do what you can in a time that can feel particularly chaotic. You may find this to be happening wherever you have Leo in your chart. Venus can be connected with it. I'm seeing Venus and Mars here. Okay. Emperor and Tower, but also Six of Swords is feeling like whatever this was that popped up, there could have been a fast adjustment that needed to be made. This will be, if this hasn't happened already, it's going to be happening in the beginning of the month. Because by the time you get to the middle, I'm seeing you be on board with what's going on. And it does feel like there's not an element of chaos that was initially present. This also too looks like a big shift that's happening where something is going on with your masculine and your feminine energy. To have the Empress and to also have the Emperor here, those are like two sides of you, like both sides of you. It's like your yin and your yang energy. Having Death card and having the Tower can mean that you're like forced to change, or even that if initially you were like, I know that this has to happen. The Tower can be things happening in a way that like you already knew the main theme of what was going on, but there can be elements that happen that you were not expecting. But it feels too that once something comes through, it allows you to move forward with things, and there is a sense of balance and things settling back down. But I'm seeing in the beginning, it feels like something is sort of all over the place. This can also be like a general transition that you're going through, where you can feel like it's just chaotic. So this can be something that you already know about. If you're already going through a big transition right now, this would feel significant for you within your life. You can feel in the beginning of July like there's still some type of chaos, but then I'm seeing like as we're getting closer to mid-July, this is going to settle down greatly. Okay? So you'll feel in a practical way like, okay, I know what I'm doing now. I know the drill. It's going to feel like that. And just like doing what you need to and participating every day in this process, it feels like then things become very predictable even, whereas before it could have been very chaotic. I'm also seeing too there be like different aspects of yourself that you feel like are growing through this process where you're expanding in a big way. This can mean too that you're becoming more receptive to yourself, to your preferences, to your values, and also too that you're changing the way that you do things based off of what you're picking up on. So like you receive messages and get downloads, or you are having a feeling, and then that part, like your receptivity to those things, being like open to those things, that's going through a shift right now where that's evolving, where it feels like you're being more open towards yourself. And then the Emperor aspect is then like what you do because of those things. So I'm not only open to what I'm feeling right now, but then I'm also going to do something about that. Then I'm going to listen to that and know that I'm called then to take action in some way. Having Death card and having Tower can be like, I'm getting this message and something is going to happen in an abrupt way because I feel like there's a very big shift and I have to be part of initiating this. So it can feel like, it feels like doubly destructive for some reason, having Death and having the Tower here, because these are some really, really big energies. Like Death is already going to be really kind of severe within itself. Having the Tower feels, it's giving me kind of like a Rahu energy here, where I feel North Node, for those of you that know it as North Node, it feels like it's being magnified for some reason, or like intensified. But it can be something where you're like burn it all down, you know, whatever it is. Like I don't think necessarily it's about clothing, but I'm seeing like metaphorically, to some of you it could be your wardrobe, but metaphorically speaking, for the most part, what I'm seeing is at first you can be like looking at your clothing, metaphorically speaking, and be like, none of this stuff is really my style anymore. They're just like a few things here, and then getting to a point where it's like this part of you sort of comes over you within the process, and you're like, let's get rid of it all. It feels like something that like you sort of know that the change has been anticipated and accumulating to this point, and then it feels like taking really drastic measures. Maybe you even feel like you get a little bit out of control for a minute, but you can feel like this is a necessary part of your process. Maybe you feel like it gets a little bit messy too, but again, like it's for a higher evolution that's happening. And having Knight of Pentacles and the Six of Swords feels like after everything's like burnt down, you being like, okay, now I have to do the practical side of this, or like the more like mundane side of this, where it's like needing to go online and look at clothing, or go to the store, or whatever it is that you're doing, you know, or go to like a yard sale, whatever it is that you're doing. And so then it feels like things calm down after that, but it does feel like initially there's a really big climax of something, and it can feel very, very chaotic, but then I'm seeing very, very quickly things calm down. So it gets really heightened, but then it calms down. And it even starts moving slowly too, but you know that things are settling. And I do feel like there's gonna be a point that climaxes quickly. Doing the right thing, something about that being a challenge. When I say doing the right thing, I mean like what's aligned for you, morally speaking, when you're like, this is the right way to do it, this is the right way that I do this, versus this is not the right way that I do this. There's going to be some type of challenge that's associated with that, of doing things in a way that you feel like is right, even though it may be the most difficult thing to do in the circumstance. You can even feel like it's on your side to not do something the right way, and that like integrity is going to come into play, and you're going to still have to do something in a way, if you feel so called to do it in a way that truly does align with your values. But you can feel like that part of you is challenged, where it's like, are you going to do things that way, or are you not going to do things that way? Are you going to honor that within yourself or no? I'm seeing you stick to your guns here, and I'm seeing it definitely work out in your benefit. To your benefit. Big time. Okay. By the end of July, I'm seeing you be feeling very peaceful mentally about something. It feels like I have this door by the end of July, or nearing the end of July, you're gonna feel like you have cleared the path, cleared the way to a door that you sort of, it's like it opened in the beginning of July and you sort of knew that was the direction that you were going in. You have to go through all of this stuff, and then by the time you get to it, it's like you're right in front of it and about to cross the threshold. But before you do, like getting to get a good night's sleep, it's something like that that I'm seeing here. Big shift that you're going through. It feels too like certain circumstances may feel really destabilizing and you have to keep things like stable and balanced. Something about that, you know, it's like anchoring with the opposite energy, that if something is going on in a way that feels very chaotic, like needing to tap into your practical grounded energy to keep everything balanced. By the end of July, I'm seeing there's going to be a recharge. There's a door that you know is opening, so it feels like you don't have to get to it anymore because it's right in front of you at that point. And then also, I'm seeing you get to relax. Feels like a lot happens in a short span of time as well. This is a really big opportunity, whatever this is, whatever door this is that opens, you're going to feel like your livelihood is connected with this thing. Like what you're doing with your life is very much connected with the door that's opening. So it's something that's going to feel extremely significant. Going through a challenge, it feels too like a time of upheaval. The tower then ends and things calm down. Challenge that you go through, I'm seeing you overcome the obstacle, but in a way where you're like, you feel successful coming out of it. So it's like a wall that you face, and like you and a bunch of other people, you have this wall, and it's like you climb it and you're like the first one over. It's going to be something like that. And then I'm seeing you feel like really at peace and at ease, whereas before, when you're in the middle of the obstacle, you could have not felt like that because you're like, am I going to do it? Am I going to do it? Am I going to do it? But then when you come out on the other side, I'm seeing you feel very proud of yourself. So it's something that's going to feel very, very important to you in like a deep-seated type of way. I get a sense of you feeling more attuned as well when we get towards the end of this, where there's some type of like spiritual connection that you feel like you've made with yourself and your understanding of your spirituality, something along the lines of that also being a part of this too. It can be direction, education can be involved in this, moving can be involved in this, advancement of career can be involved in this, livelihood in any way, in any sort can be involved in this. And also too, you can feel like you assume a position that you want to assume, and this can feel like a really big deal for you as well. All around this looks like it's going to lead to, again, a door opening, like a new chapter, a new start that's going to be happening. Okay, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.